Hi everyone, we're going to evaluate the given integral and we're going to use trigonometric U-substitution and also our Pythagorean identities. So the first thing I want to do with this one is just notice that this is tan squared x squared tan x. So this would be tan to the fourth, and this would be to the first. So I can break this up, and I know tan squared is secant squared minus 1. So I'm going to write this as secant squared x minus 1 squared, and then write my tan x. Now I'm going to expand this here, and that's going to be secant to the fourth x minus 2 secant squared x plus 1. Then you multiplying it by tan x dx. All right, now let's distribute this tan, and that's going to give you secant to the fourth x times tan x minus 2 secant squared x tan x plus tan x, and then that's all dx. Now, what I'm also going to do is break this up to 3 pieces. So I'm going to break it up like this. Secant 4x tan x dx minus the integral. And I'm going to go ahead and put this 2 in front. So let's put that 2 in front. 2 secant squared x tan x plus the integral of tan x dx. Okay, now, before we go further, let's rewrite this a little bit more. If I can squeeze this, well, I'm just going to rewrite this piece right here. I'm going to write this as secant cube x secant x tan x dx. So I just rewrote this because what I'm going to do is use U-substitution. And when I do that, I'm going to let u equals secant x. Therefore, derivative of u equals secant x tan x. So I'm going to use my U-substitution on the next slide. So make sure you have this written down. So we're going to get, I'm going to write it out again. My U-substitution is u equals secant x. And so therefore my derivative of u, I'll put it up here, u equals secant x. So the derivative of u equals secant x tan x dx. And what you're going to need to know is that tan x dx equals, we can divide both sides by secant, so that's going to be du secant x. So let's substitute. So you're going to have the integral of u cubed derivative of u minus 2, and then we have tan secant squared, so we're going to have u du. Because before we had tan x, and then we had 2 secants. Because this was squared. So now that I have this, that's just going to be du, and we still have our secant. And then we have our plus tan x dx. So tan x dx is just going to be du divided by secant x. And that's the integral of that. So now we can evaluate this and do our antiderivative. So this is going to be 1/4 u to the 4th minus 2, and u is going to be secant. Well, let's just put the u in for now. So minus 2, and this is going to be u squared divided by 2, plus, and this piece is going to be ln of secant x, and secant x is just u. So ln of u plus c. So now let's substitute back in our u, and you get 1/4 secant to the 4th of x. These two cancel, so you're going to just get minus secant squared x plus ln of secant x, the absolute value of secant x plus c. And that's your final answer. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.